everybody, and welcome back to the Sogcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Matt.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm Owen.
The Mariners are currently 75-58. I will repeat that. 75-58.
Let's go.
Oh my God.
17 games over 500.
Who'd have thunk it, man? At this point in the season?
Especially in June when we were like 10 games under 500. It's a nice little turnaround there.
And today is Saturday, September 3rd, and the Mariners shut out the Cleveland Guardians 4-0 and took the second game of this series.
The Mariners are just firing on all cylinders. Like, what more is there to say? And they're tied for the first wild card spot. The thing is, they keep battling back and forth with the Tampa Bay Rays, while the New York Yankees are in a free fall. There is a very real chance that the Tampa Bay Rays will take the division and the Yankees are battling for the wild card spot, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, the Rays just swept the Yankees and are only 5 games back now? That's insane. Dude.
They were like 16 games back a month ago, and now they're only 5.
Absolute free fall for the Yankees.
What a beautiful turn of events.
Hey, anytime the Yankees do bad, it makes me a happy camper.
Yeah, the Mariners are keeping up with the Rays, who just keep winning games, man. They've won 5 in a row. The Mariners have won 6 in a row. We're doing the exact same thing, staying in lockstep here in the wild card standings. We're both 8-2 in our last 10, and we're up 2 games on Toronto. And Baltimore is even approaching Toronto in the bottom end of that wild card race too. It's just gonna get interesting.
And it shouldn't be understated. It was, a week ago, MLB released the stat. The Mariners, 41-19 in their last 60 games. The best record in all of baseball.
Amazing.
That's
Not the American League?
Not the American League, not just the National League, all of baseball. The Mariners had the best record in the last 60 games. That's crazy. 19 losses. They just don't lose. And their losses don't come in a grouping. If they drop one, who cares? They're coming back. They're winning the series. 41-19 in their last 60. Absolutely insane.
August has been a great month for the Mariners. They've really found their stride. They're all coming together. We have a deep lineup. Our defense has been as well as it's been all year. Our pitching has been locked down. Our starting pitching has not been shaky by any means. Obviously, we talk about Marco Gonzalez a lot, but that's 1/5 of our rotation. Our bullpen is hands down just the best bullpen in the American League, I think.
Speaking of Marco, we give him a lot of shit on here. Or at least I do, and so does Garrett. They released a stat that all of the starters are under a 4-point ERA. So Marco's at 3.99. So good for him. Getting those little wins in there, I
liked
guess.
that stat, too. I was like, yeah, Marco's just sneaking by.
He's
but
behind Flexen, who's like at 3.8.
Oh, speaking of flexing, we gave him that third of an inning that he's been sitting in the bullpen waiting for his option. He got his option.
$8 million bonus for Chris Flexen, and he deserves every fucking penny.
Team option turns into a player option, doubles his money. That's always a great time for a player like that, and he has made strides in his career. I love the way he flips and spins it, and I wouldn't mind him exercising his option and staying with the Mariners next year.
I really hope so too. Flexen is probably the best kept secret in all of baseball. He so quietly is one of the most dominant pitchers, at least in the American League. He just goes out there. He doesn't have a lot of fanfare. He's not a big, exuberant guy. Doesn't bring a lot of flash or pizzazz. But he will go out there and he'll throw 6 innings of 1-run ball. He doesn't get a lot of walks. He doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. But what he does do is eat innings and not give up runs. He is a solid staple of a pitcher, and not a lot of people know about him, I think. And the Mariners have gotten a little bit more awareness throughout the league. A lot more people are paying attention to the Mariners. But I think even so, Flexen is just kind of the quiet guy in the corner that you don't realize can throw hands.
He stayed hidden back in the bullpen for the last month or so, kind of resting, and we kept him just under that innings limit to see if the Mariners screwed him, I would have felt so bad for him. He's been doing so well. His path through the KBO has been awesome. To watch him go out there and mentally battle through a game when he doesn't have a dominant fastball, say, but he has enough tact and finesse to really keep the hitters off balance. That's the kind of pitching I like to see. We watched Jamie Moyer do it for a long time. You can say Chris Flexen's a crafty righty, and I'm glad he got that.
And I was going to say, he doesn't have a dominant pitch, per se. It's not like, oh, he blows you away with his curveball, or he can really pump that fastball through there. He just knows how to pitch. He knows where to place the ball, and he knows how to get guys out. And, what more can you want from a guy?
In his last 5 starts, he's given up 3 home runs, which is not even bad. He's walked 10 dudes, and he's struck out 11. So that does play right into what you're saying. He doesn't have a nasty slider or a perfect this or that.
Yeah.
He's just a guy who's going to get in there and get it done.
And look at the guy who's kind of surpassed him in the rotation here. George Kirby kind of took his place in the rotation during this time, and he has been amazing. As a rookie, George Kirby got the American League Rookie of the Month award for August.
He did.
And he's been killing it. His last 5-6 starts have been no doubters. He broke the record for most consecutive strikes to start a game.
Yeah, he did. That was nuts.
Yeah, dude. In George Kirby's last 5 starts, he's given up a whopping 0 home runs.
Fuck yeah.
He has walked 3 dudes. 3 in 5 starts.
While
and struck
striking
out
out?
34. George fucking Kirby.
That's insane.
It's-
That's a 10-to-1 ratio, strikeouts to Ks.
George Kirby has not walked 2 people in a single start all year. It's rare enough if he gets 1 walk. He has never walked 2 people in a single start. The dude just throws strikes. It's crazy. And you've got this rookie that can dominate the strike zone against all these veterans. It's insane. We're talking about best kept secrets, Flexen. What about Kirby? Kirby could very well win a Cy Young award in a year or 2. I'm putting my stamp on it. Patrick Stamp, George Kirby, future Cy Young award winner.
He's kind of the golden boy, the first up-and-coming guy, and Brash and Kirby were the guys that came up this year to show the league, hey, look what we've got. And Kirby's turned out to be a real one. He has a lot of, moxie. He's got a lot of, he seems like a veteran when he's a rookie, which is a thing I like to see.
You know what's crazy? We got Logan Gilbert in his 2nd year, George Kirby as a rookie, Cal Raleigh, who is one of the best catchers in all of baseball. This battery is so young, and it's so dominant. Look at where the Mariners are going to be in a couple of years. It's great. They're so good now, and these players are young. They are only going to get better. In all of the sports, baseball and I guess kind of basketball has the youngest prime, where in baseball, and it takes a really long time to reach it. You have some players that don't reach their prime until they're in their 30s. Look at Mitch Haniger. He was a very late bloomer. Aaron Judge as well. I don't think blossomed till 28, 29 years old. To have these 23, 24-year-old guys that are coming in and shutting shit down and becoming one of the best teams in baseball, there's nowhere to go but up.
I love that young core chemistry thing that we have. We have a lot of young guys who don't necessarily have that playoff push experience and are doing it for the first time, which is always a unique time. And I think it makes it better for our team. It's surrounded by veterans like Mitch Haniger, Carlos Santana, J.P. Crawford, Jesse Winker, Eugenio Suarez. We have a whole bunch of, and Robbie Ray even. All these dudes fill in around a bunch of young core guys that this team is the real deal. I don't think there's anything that anybody can see in this team that is not gonna make it to the playoffs, gonna make a problem for any team that they play in the playoffs.
And the Mariners have this really young core, and they're growing and they're learning. Another young guy, Ty France, talking about maturing the game and learning as you do. He had his own share of struggles in the month of August. He was abysmal. And even with him being a young guy, he's still taking the veteran steps to improve his game. If you look at his numbers through the month of August, where he was dealing with injury, which we had previously talked about on the pod, and just looking unprofessional, he has completely turned it around. I mean, he's made the veteran moves to better his at-bats, and now, just like that, a snap of the fingers, he is, again, one of the top first basemen in the league after being one of the worst for an entire month.
Yeah, I think it was even last week we were like lamenting the fact that he had like 2 WRC since the All-Star break. And right after we had that pod, he, I think now is averaging like almost a home run every 4 at-bats. So he definitely turned around. Really good to see. Definitely needed. He's a pretty integral part of our offense.
He is. He is a huge part of our offense. And when he's clicking in the 2-hole, 3-hole where he usually sits in our lineup, it really sets things in motion. He's not a fast runner, but man, can he get things moving. He can hit for extra bases. He can hit dudes in. Ty France, maybe not since the All-Star break, but in the month of August, the month of August, his WRC was...
It was 2.
2, yeah, like
2.
Owen said. 2.
From August 1st to August 25th. 2.
And that WRC
And again,
plus,
the league average is 100.
that means he's 2% of the league's average in weighted runs created, which is pretty bad. What was his batting average during that time?
During that time, he was hitting 127.
And striking out a lot more than he
Woof.
walked, I'm sure.
I mean, I was watching
a lot more. Yeah, he was walking 6.4% of the time and struck out 16.7% of the time.
I was watching Ty France take some of the most unprofessional at-bats I have ever seen. And it was even like amplified because he was such a dominant professional hitter beforehand. And he was going up there, he was taking 3 straight strikes, watching one go right down the middle and then chasing 2 out of the zone. It looked so unprofessional, and that can really derail a young player's career. And he took the veteran steps to improve, realize what he was doing wrong. We thought he might need an IL stint because he was performing so badly. And to his credit, he focused on what he was doing wrong, and just like that, he has completely turned it around.
I do want to say, just to point out his turnaround, we were looking at August 1st through August 25th. His WRC was 2. Now, if we extend that 25th an extra week up until today, September 3rd, August 1st to September 3rd, he's gone up to 67 WRC. And that's including all that nasty Augustness.
Yeah.
If we want to
going
look at
from 2
the
to
last week or
67.
so, yeah.
He's made a huge turnaround and hitting a bunch of homers. I think maybe a couple days off at the beginning of September, or this week here, we had a couple days off in between series, which was nice, and it gave him an opportunity to recover, take a little bit of batting practice, and go full speed. I read an article where he set up the high velo machine and just took batting practice at home and started feeling better after that, just kind of getting a feel for... His left arm is all wrapped up and compressed. I'm sure he needs to kind of get a feel for how that is.
Yeah, the one thing I really admire about France is that, you know, when he's being interviewed during that rough stretch in August, he had a lot of like self-deprecating humor. He's like, "Oh, I suck at baseball," when being interviewed, or like, "I'm really bad." And, you know, that's one part of the puzzle where you have to kind of recognize that you're struggling, but it's also another piece that he's also excelled at, where he's able to like recognize and also improve and do what he needs to do to get back to where he is.
He definitely knows like he has a high potential, and he's performed with that recently, and he's feeling off, and he'll get back into it. It's kind of fun to joke about how you suck when you do, when you know you're just not yourself at the moment. And we saw that. We thought maybe he needed an IL stint. Doesn't look that way now. Like, he's just gonna
He
go
proved
for
us
it,
wrong.
man.
He had some super funny, like, sarcastic shit to say, too. They're like, "Hey, how's your arm doing? Is that why why you're like slumping right now? He's like, is my shitty arm the reason that I'm bad at baseball? No.
I appreciate the self-deprecation. I know when we had Logan Morrison on the Mariners, I don't know, like
Lomo.
5 years ago, but he was really bad. He wasn't like a Ty France. He was just straight bad. He would go on Twitter after going like 0 for 10, 0 for 15, and his post on Twitter, he's like, when you're bad, it's time to get rad. And it was like a 30 rack of Rainiers.
Oh, Lomo.
Hey, at least Lomo knew how to party.
Another guy that's not necessarily turned a corner that's banging for the Mariners right now is Cal Raleigh. He's a switch hitting catcher, guys. I remember talking about all these guys when they were coming up. Let's talk about like George Kirby, Matt Brash, even Logan Gilbert before he was coming up, and Cal Raleigh was in those bunch of dudes that we were talking about 2 years ago. We play wiffle ball, right? And we always banter at our wiffle ball games about baseball, what's happening. Oh, the Mariners suck, but look at all these guys coming up. Cal Raleigh is a dude who's turned into a stud real quick. From the left side of the plate, he packs a huge punch. From the right side of the plate, he can hold it down. He doesn't strike out as much. He's more of a contact hitter from the right side. And I can't say enough about how he works with our pitching staff and just looks better every day I see him on the field.
I think Patrick's been really outspoken about how our pitchers love working with Cal Raleigh and how our battery, no matter how you cut it, is just so dominant.
I've definitely brought that up a few times because you have some veteran guys like Robbie Ray, and then you have these young bucks like George Kirby and Logan Gilbert,
His
who's
roommate.
still only in his sophomore year. And Cal knows how to call a game. His defense can't be understated. Like, he's so amazing behind the plate, throwing runners out, and then offensively hitting bombs, taking walks. Like, it's so crazy. This young core the Mariners have, and Cal is a huge part of that. And he's going to be a staple for years to come.
He's got a little bit of his own little 2020 season going on as well. 20 home runs, 20 throwouts at second base.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. Honestly, that's so good for Cal. I can't believe he's turned into what he's turned into. I knew he was going to progress into something that we could appreciate, but right now he's an integral piece of our lineup and our pitching staff. And I can't say enough about Cal Raleigh, man. Again,
He's got 11 home runs since the All-Star break. That's pretty fucking
I think
dope.
he's the best hitter in the American League.
the best
catcher.
hitter, the best hitting catcher.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That.
He's not Aaron Judge. Let's not oversell
Cal Raleigh
him.
is the shit.
He's the best
But
hitter ever.
he's one of the best catchers in baseball.
So next year, what? Have Raleigh be the starter and then have Murphy backup? And then
Yeah.
who was that guy we picked up?
Kurt Casale.
Yeah, what are we doing?
He's a defense-first catcher who we needed more than we needed Terens, and
Yeah.
he's just filling in
He's
for
just filling
days
in.
when Cal needs off. Like in the last couple weeks, he's played like 3 games.
Something
He's
like that.
just filled in when Cal needs days off, honestly. And he's a defense-first catcher, which we needed a lot.
Yeah, I think, having Murphy as kind of like a mentor to Raleigh would be a nice little change of pace.
That'd be great.
I feel ashamed to admit I forgot about Tom Murphy.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, man, I looked at this stats page today and saw his name on there and was like, oh, man, I feel bad for Tom. He's just not around. And, like,
Well, he hasn't been around.
I
for
wish.
I mean, he got injured,
like the first or second week, I think.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
dislocated
real
his shoulder.
early.
I was at the game where he dislocated his shoulder. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was an Astros game. He dislocated his shoulder, and then it ended up needing surgery. And all the credit in the world to Tom Murphy. He's a tough mofo. He tried to play through it. That's why it took him so long to get on the IL. He tried to be like, no, I can rehab it. I can be back quicker. And unfortunately, through no fault of his own, he just couldn't. He needed surgery, and it ended his season.
He was one of the best hitters or best hitting catchers in the American League at the beginning of the season. He was banging. He hit a few homers. He was really good until he went down with his shoulder separation, I think. And Man, I would love to have him around next season still underneath, even with Kurt Casale on our roster. Like, it'd still be good to have Tom Murphy around. I don't know what his contract looks like, but I kind of feel bad that he hasn't been around because he was banging at the beginning of the season.
And he was a huge uptick for the Mariners offense last year. Last year, the Mariners run differential was actually in the negatives. Despite their winning record, they weren't scoring a lot of runs. And Tom Murphy was a big boost to that offense that wasn't actually scoring a lot. And he continued that trend this year. And it sucks that he got hurt. But I think, could you imagine if Cal needs a day of rest and you have Tom, the Dong Murphy, coming in? I mean, that is going to be one of the best catching tandems in all of baseball.
Yeah, he played 14 games at the beginning of the season before he got injured.
Yeah, it was really, really early on.
He had a home run, though.
Not surprising.
Not surprising.
Duke
I love
and
Tom
Nash.
Murphy.
Yes.
Now that it's September, we get to expand our roster, which was an exciting thing for, I'm sure, every team to at least get some help in the bullpen. We've been talking about how Kyle Lewis and Jarred Kelenic both got sent down when we thought maybe one of them would get sent down, give one a chance kind of a thing. They both got sent down. But now that we're back like in real baseball land with no maybes, we're calling up Trammell, we're calling up Boyd. They're both healthy now. We need a lefty in our pen. We've had full pen of righties who have been absolutely dominant, and I love every one of those guys, but it sure helps to have a lefty in the pen.
Especially moving into the playoffs. It worked for us in the regular season, but I do think we probably need a lefty in there going forward.
I want to do a real quick double shout out. As cool as it is to have Taylor Trammell back, which is amazing. Love the guy. So happy to have him back. How cool is it that Matthew Boyd is pitching for the Mariners? That dude is from here. There's pictures of him as a child at like Safeco Field, like wearing a Mariners hat as a little kid. And now he's here pitching for his hometown team. And I just want to say, isn't that all of our dreams? Like, we all...
That's so crazy, dude. He went to Eastside Catholic High School right down the street from us.
Yeah, and like...
A real hometown guy.
I had so many daydreams as a kid, like laying in bed at night just wishing, like, they call my name and I get to come in as a pitcher or a second baseman for the Mariners. Like, that's every baseball fan from the Pacific Northwest absolute dream, to be able to play for your hometown team. And he's doing it. And he's battled injuries. He hadn't pitched in almost an entire year. He just recently rehabbed. He came back and pitched a 1-2-3 inning in his debut for the Mariners.
Against Detroit, too.
Against Detroit, his old team that let him go. I mean, that's...
Round of applause for Matt Boyd. Give it up for Matt Boyd.
That's
Attaboy,
everyone's
Matt.
dream, and he's living it. And I'm so happy that he is on this team. And the smile on his face when he came in after his 1-2-3 inning, like...
Did you cry?
I teared up. I'm tearing up right now.
I was going to say, you look like you're going to cry right now, boy.
No,
Don't
it's
Kermit
so
the Frog.
cool to have him. And he's living the dream, and I'm really glad that he gets to be a part of this Mariners roster. And then also, Taylor Trammell is back up, and I think he deserves to be.
Me too. I'm
glad that he's here.
I think he proved that he can make a difference. He's a good defender in the outfield. He's very fast. He hits from the left side, something that our lineup needs. Mitch Haniger hits from the right side. Winker hits left. Julio hits right. But he just adds to our outfield depth, so we don't have to move around Frazier. We don't have to move around anyone to play right or left field. Haggerty. We can really have them as utility infielders rather than playing them everywhere and hoping for the best, just filling in for injuries. Our lineup has gotten really deep, and with the September call-ups, it just helps fill in the gaps. There's no weaknesses anymore. We finally have a lefty in the pen. Unfortunately, Barucki went down.
Yeah, he's
and
been injured.
it would have been nice to have him, even though he couldn't pitch to right-handed batters at all. His splits were so bad. We don't even have to look those up. He was really good against lefties, though. He was a true lefty specialist, but Boyd has been a starting pitcher before, too. He can be a multi-inning lefty in the pen versus a team that has a lot of left-handed hitting.
Yeah, and Boyd is going to be a huge boost to this postseason bullpen. So we got Boyd, we got Trammell. You guys know who didn't get the call up? Jarred Kelenic.
Yep.
Do you know how he responded? He unfollowed the Mariners on Instagram and deleted all of his Instagram posts with him in like Mariners attire. And I know social media is social media, but it's kind of a hot topic. And the reason why I have such an issue with this is because it is such a prima donna move that was started by NFL stars. NFL star players a couple years ago really made it famous where if they were having some type of beef with the team, they would unfollow them and blah, 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 blah. Russell Wilson did it on Twitter when he unfollowed all of his Seahawks teammates, and then followed one person, which was his Russell Wilson brand.
Corny.
Yes. And then Kyler Murray famously did it last year with the Arizona Cardinals in a contract dispute. He thought he should be paid more money, so his retaliation, I'm going to unfollow all types of Cardinals media on my Instagram account and Twitter and stuff. And Jarred Kelenic, being just as immature, decided that was the route to go. And the thing is, we're not 14-year-old girls. Does it make a difference? No. Does it change anything? No. That is just his way of trying to be a prima donna about a situation. He wants to take the same road that these NFL stars, these immature NFL stars are doing. And he's like, oh, you're not going to call me up? I'm going to unfollow the whole team. Which also proves that all of his rah-rah bullshit of, oh, we're going to make the playoffs and I'm going to be a staple of it. All that bullshit. That was just him wanting to be the spotlight. He could give a fuck less about the team. He does not care. He cares about Jarred Kelenic and he cares about his brand the same way Russell Wilson does. And I think it's a bullshit, childish, immature move. And it's his right to do it. Yeah, you can do that. But what are you changing? The only thing it's changing is showing that you're not in it for the team. You're in it for yourself.
It's just some reactionary, immature bullshit. And at this point, I gotta say, I don't even care. I say trade him. Let him go play
crumbs.
Whatever, dude. Let him go play AAA for the fucking Nationals. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, see you in Oakland, Kelenic.
Yeah, dude. I mean, his stats in AAA are great, but he still doesn't deserve to be called up to the majors. He's been given so many opportunities. And just, dude, take some fucking responsibility. You're an adult acting like a child. Play better. Make the necessary adjustments. Get called up.
And produce when you get called up.
And don't strike out every at bat and then throw your bat all hothead style. Dude, he's just a child. And it shows.
Yes.
Let's trade Kelenic and Lewis for someone big. You got a really hot prospect. You got the rookie of the year for, oh God, was it 2019?
19, I think.
2020.
20.
Good luck dealing with those guys, whatever team gets them in a package.
Oh my God, could you imagine those two egos entering your clubhouse at the same time?
It'd be interesting. I don't know. I didn't realize the whole social media take. Like you're saying, a bunch of really high-profile dudes were doing this kind of thing on Instagram or Twitter or whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that part. So for me, it was more straightforward. Jarred Kelenic was a dude who everyone knows he's been highly touted as a prospect. Everyone expected more from him. He himself knows he hasn't performed. And to your point before, Patrick, when he got called down to AAA or sent down to AAA, he reported day of. He was in the lineup.
I did sing his praises for that. Credit where credit is due.
In my opinion, his moves right now are kind of in a situation where I think he realizes his situation about he's not going to be in this playoff push with the Mariners anymore. He's he's out of that scene. He only has one option left. He knows he's on the top of the Mariners trade block, so he's just kind of possibly cutting himself out of that situation where he's like making a PR move and like trying to cut out the FOMO of missing out, like the fear of missing out of the Mariners' success right now, and almost like that's how it felt to me, where he's like letting other teams know, hey, like I'm not just a Mariners guy now. Like obviously I'm at the end of my rope here, and I'm just leaving the door open, cutting myself off emotionally from missing out on this fun that I thought I was going to be part of.
There's just better ways to do it than act like a little bitch on social media.
Yeah, I didn't realize that's kind of the move he's
for sure.
making.
It is a PR
So
stunt,
to
though.
me, like that's all from the outside of the from that perspective. So it's interesting to hear what you guys have to say about that, because I didn't get that whole part of it.
And actually, that really put it into perspective, because I have sang Kelenic's praises before about him immediately reporting to Tacoma, making himself available for the minor league roster. And I do really like those qualities about him. But I think at the end of the day, right now, the Mariners have so much team chemistry, and Kelenic can fake chemistry. But
Seems like it, yeah.
Yeah, man.
But
sure.
I think he really is in it for himself. And you know what? Different strokes for different folks. If you want the focus on you and you want to be the star, that's your prerogative, and I'll let that slide.
Sure, if he feels like the team isn't going to help him out, no one's going to help him but him, sure, go that route. Or play fucking better baseball. Get called up to the team that you're on. Stop acting like a little whiny little baby snot-nosed bitch.
No, I do agree. And that's where I'm like kind of in this limbo, because, yeah, you know what? You got to provide for yourself in this world. And if he feels like that's his goal and that he needs to push himself, then you know what? You do you. But you don't have to do it on the Mariners. And if you want to throw this little hissy fit and play these games, maybe you're not the best fit for this team. And he's proven, the Mariners have given him his chances. He's been called up multiple times, and the same shit happens every single time. He brings a little bit of energy, but he strikes out a ton. He has plus defense, but terrible at the plate, and he's hot-headed, and it gets to him.
I think it is kind of like you're saying, he wants to build his own like self brand and image. So whatever team he was on and drafted him, he came up in, he's going to act this way and be like, hey, fans, pay attention to me. I want you guys to like me a lot and hope I succeed, but he doesn't succeed in the tense moments. He doesn't come up big in any moments, honestly. He just strikes out.
I was going to say any moments. It could be very mild.
He's gripping
not
that bat so hard and just ripping through. But, like, I thought he looked a little bit better last year, a little leaner. This year he came in looking bulky. He looked like a running back. Like, dude, honestly, he can run down balls in the outfield, and he's decent in the outfield. Has a good arm.
Yeah.
I don't know. As a longtime Mariner fan, I always get that FOMO. It's just like, oh my God, if we trade Kelenic in like 3 years, he's going to be like top 10 in the whole league. It's just like,
cool. Let him be good in 3 years.
Let's see what we get back.
He's good on like the Angels or the Astros. I don't want to be seeing him like 30 times a year.
I mean, he can play for the Las Vegas Athletics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm sure they'll change. It won't be the Athletics anymore if they move to Las Vegas, bro.
Oh, they'll be in a different division.
What's their?
No, same division. Just
they'll
every
change
team
their.
plays every team. Schedule change.
Oh,
coming
you're
up.
right. You're right.
Yeah. So we won't see
We'll still see him.
the asterisk Las Vegas Athletics.
see him
Because
a
let's be real,
decent
they're
amount of
moving to
times.
Vegas, and it's happening real soon.
That's why I just keep calling him that.
Yeah.
Bay Area, what's up? Let us know. We have no idea. Let us know if that stadium's happening. If you guys are moving to Vegas, what do you got? I don't know.
You'll see the Mariners announcers, everyone from Angie Mentink, Shannon Dreyer, Aaron Goldsmith. They'll be like posting pictures of their press booth in Oakland, and there's like possums running around. That's not even a bit. They just have wildlife and like rodents and shit.
Yeah.
Like running around. Aaron Goldsmith and Rick Riz were telling a story their most recent time in Oakland. They like set up their laptops and shit, and they were getting ready for game to start, and they realized there was no fucking TVs
Oh,
in the
this was
press.
great.
They didn't have a monitor to plug it into.
I think the monitor just didn't work, but throughout the whole game, I was listening to it on the radio. Throughout the whole game, they were like, "Oh yeah, we have this lady here. She's trying to hook us up with a monitor, and it's just not working out." And then they were talking about the AV guy at the stadium, trying to come in and run cable, and they hooked up this like Game Boy fucking monitor on us. Like they were trying so hard to make these guys look good. They're like, we love these people working hard to make this stupid little fucking monitor work. What the shit is this stadium?
Is this also the stadium where when you listen to it on the radio, it like the music is so ridiculously loud?
Yeah.
That's the Oakland Coliseum,
they
baby.
just can't help. They're like, we're gonna go to the bottom of the fourth. And the
It
music's
echoes
a
so
little
loud.
loud here.
It's because there's nobody there to soak
So
up
it
the
just
sound, dude.
reverbs across the entire. It's like a big stadium too, just full of emptiness.
Dude, I actually kind of hope they move to Las Vegas. It'll kind of just bring more hype to baseball. I feel bad for the Bay Area, but the San Francisco Giants are holding it down in the Bay. It sucks for.
And they have the Golden
Athletics
State Warriors
fans.
in basketball.
The Athletics are a long-standing baseball team and have a lot of history. I love the Athletics history and everything.
Me too.
But like, it might be time. It might be time.
Yeah, we're not shitting on the history.
When
we're shitting
when
on their
there's
awful
possums,
stadium.
when they have to get possums out of the the top of the broadcast boost
chewing on
booth.
wires,
Yeah, man. While they're doing a game,
Could you imagine it?
There's time,
pissing
man.
all over the place.
I was gonna say, could you imagine if we were trying to do this podcast and like possums and raccoons and shit are like rolling around?
It's
You're
like
like,
kicking
them
vermin.
out.
Yeah, get out of here.
Oh, there's a
Get out.
possum in the ceiling. Shit. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I feel bad because you know what? I have a lot of respect as a Mariners fan who has sat through 20 years of bullshit. I have a lot of respect for those teams, the Oakland A's, and then in different sports like the Cleveland Browns and the Detroit Lions. I count us in like a very select group of fans that stick through it all, where it's been a lot of pain, a lot of bullshit. And imagine how much it would hurt if with the Mariners playoff drought, they were talking about selling the team. Could you imagine what that would do? So I have a lot of feel for the Oakland Athletic fans, especially some diehards out there.
same, dude.
But their stadium is just not major league quality. And it's not the fans' fault. It's literally the owner's fault. But it's just not up to par. Sewage backs up. They don't have any concession stands open. They average like 2,000 fans a game.
Their revenue has to be so low. They have to build a new stadium and the city has to approve it. There's all this movement in that direction, but I haven't read up on what's happening recently. But
No,
it's
that's
all
dead on.
just been a flip-flop shit show of, man, just move to Vegas and start new, make a new team, and
Start
the
with some
Bay
money.
is having trouble itself, man. It's hard to build a new stadium there on the waterfront.
So Oakland fans, our hearts go out to you.
We feel you, bros.
But
Yeah, absolutely, we feel you.
fuck, your stadium's not up to par. It's atrocious.
You're always welcome to be
You
Mariners
sold
fans.
all your players. Now you have no revenue. Good luck.
You guys came out with one movie
God
with
damn it.
Brad Pitt and thought y'all were the shit.
This is the
Good movie.
This is
It
the
is.
peak of Moneyball right here, is where your team gets sold and goes to Las Vegas because you sold all your players you could have re-signed and had a playoff-worthy team in Chapman and Olsen and in Montas. You sold all your good players. You sold all of them. Anyway, I don't want to shit on those guys too much. I liked their team this last few years when the Mariners sucked, man. I loved watching the Athletics push for the playoffs, and I feel bad for them. Yeah, like, remember how the Rays were going to, possibly get moved or sold? They don't have a whole lot of attendance there, even though they're a good team. They're kind of in a bad spot in St. Petersburg.
Didn't they just rebuild their stadium a couple of years ago?
No, they're in the same bullshit dome. And the problem is no one can get to their stadium. Like, to get
It's
there,
travel.
it's
Ways of
one
town.
bridge.
It sucks.
It's one bridge in or out. So they have a dominant baseball team that fans would love to cheer on if they could reach the stadium.
Yeah.
But it's one bridge in or out, and no one wants to go through the hassle of it.
It's like going to a concert at White River.
Yeah.
It's like one lane in, one lane out, and you're just there.
Yeah,
It
be
sucks.
expected to sit for 2 hours on the way out
Yeah.
after a concert. Like,
Also, if
goddamn.
you ever go to a concert at White River, pay the extra $40, get the VIP parking. You will not regret it. You're out of there in 5 minutes.
The Rays are on a roll just like us. They're on a 5-game win streak. We're on a 6-game win streak. We're mirroring each other. The Rays just keep winning. They raise the shit out of the Yankees all the time. They swept them. They might take the division. The Yankees are tanking.
Tankies.
Tankies.
We'll see what happens in that realm. That's still a 5-game split there. What's really happening is the Orioles are coming up on the Jays. We really need to watch for the Orioles to come up on the Jays and possibly pass them. All their strength of schedules, they play each other a lot. Between the 5th and the 18th of September, the Orioles and Jays play 7 games, 2 series against each other. Between the 12th and 25th of September, the Jays and Rays play 8 games against each other. So they're going to beat up on each other like we've been talking about. And that's really going to help the Mariners because this next week is our hardest stretch coming up. We have the White Sox, who are kind of middling, but they lost Tony La Russa. I'm not sure what's going on there. We'll talk about that. But then we have the Atlanta Braves after that for 3 games. So the White Sox, they had a team-only meeting, and they're trying to get their shit together. They honestly have a ton of potential. I don't see them, being a team that just falters. They're going to be a team that's going to compete with every team they face. So we're going to have a time against them, especially in a more emotional time that they're having at the moment. And then we have a 3-game series against the Atlanta Braves, who are one of the best teams in the National League. Even though they had a tough series against the Mets recently, they're still bangers. Every one of those dudes are bangers on that team. I actually want to go to the game on Sunday. That'd be dope. And then we have the San Diego Padres for 2 games also, who are they're no slouch. I mean, this is probably the toughest part of our series this next 2-3 series until the end of the year. Because after that, we have a whole bunch of, Angels, Athletics, and we don't have any tough teams until the end after that. So,
Yeah, but we know how the Mariners do against tough teams. Not tough teams.
both.
No, usually they are actually pretty good against the harder teams. I feel like they
Yeah.
go in with the mindset we got to play our asses off. And then they get an
Absolutely.
easy schedule, and they're like, we can go in a little lackluster, and then they fucking lose.
I haven't seen that as much recently. We did lose that Rangers series, and we lost a
Nationals
couple
and
series.
Oakland. It was a lot in a row.
But coming to the end of the year, I don't think the energy is going to be the same as it was at the beginning of August or the end of July. You know what I mean? Everything's coming together, the depth of the lineups together, the whole rotations together. We have 6 starting pitchers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot different, especially with the 17 games up on 500. They're a lot less likely, I hope, to slack in that regard.
We're platforming into something that looks dominant and playing against all those tough teams and then hitting our stride at the end of the season, resting guys at the right times, and going into the end of the season strong is important. So we need to make sure that our momentum hits the stride towards the end of September into October. And that's a hard thing to do, but we'll see how things shake out. The lineup's looking deep, like I said. The rotation's looking awesome. The bullpen's looking awesome. We seem to be clicking on all cylinders. We play to our strengths.
How many of those are home games?
The White Sox are here. The Braves are here. The Padres are here.
Okay, so get out. Go to a
So
game.
our
Support the
toughest
boys.
stretch is right
Go to a
now.
Braves
Go
game.
to a game this week. Go see the Braves play. Go see the Padres play. They have a lot of star players. Juan Soto's on the Padres now. Manny Machado's over there on the Padres. They have a lot of star players.
You know who they
they're
don't
good.
have?
Tatis.
That's right. Thank you, Owen.
But yeah, after that we got Angels, A's, Royals, Rangers, A's. So we're looking good. I can't wait till the Mariners make the playoffs this year. According to Fangraphs, they have like a 95% chance to make the playoffs or some shit. Like, it's going to be really hard to miss the playoffs for the Mariners with their strength of schedule coming up. And with, like I was talking about, the Rays, Jays, and Orioles playing each other a whole bunch. And they all play the Yankees, too, in there at the end. They're all going to beat up on each other. It's going to be awesome.
They
The
have
Mariners
way
are gonna
harder schedules than
platform
we do. Yeah,
straight
yeah.
in there. It's no problem.
As a true Mariners fan, the last 20 years, I do not trust those graphs. It's just like I'm just like, oh,
I
cool,
know.
19%,
It's ingrained, man.
bro.
That's 2% for disaster.
Hey,
I'm just like,
oh,
Get
day
over
by
the
day.
hump here, Owen. Come on. We got this, Owen.
You
Get
cannot
over
trust
the
the
hump.
graph, bro.
Owen, we're going to carry you over this
Trust
hump.
it, bro.
No, you got.
You can
We just
lean
gotta
on
take
us,
it
bro.
Let's go.
one game at a time.
Owen.
You cannot be like,
Owen and I were talking like 2 days ago, and I was just like, I'll believe it when the Mariners clinch. I have been hurt before. You know that the Mariners won 90 games last year?
Oh.
That's a hell of a season. It didn't feel like it. The excitement last year wasn't the same it is this year. And I think it's because we had a negative run differential and we just knew it wasn't sustainable.
And a plus 111 fun differential.
Hey, the fun that did play a role.
That made all the difference to get up to that 90 game mark.
And using 89 different players.
That
we
is
lucked
another
out.
That is another
was
excellent
luck.
point. I think the Mariners might have set the record last year for like most major league debuts. Like we were just pumping, oh, you're in Double A? Fuck it, you want to come start for us today? We need it.
It built a lot of momentum for us going forward. Like, everything was clicking at the end of the season last year, moved straight into this season. Like, it didn't all click at the beginning. We had a lot of moving parts with our new players, but things
Too many
were
moving
gonna
parts.
fall into place, and they did. The Mariners have been a late season team, and here we are, full strength at the end of the season.
With a good schedule coming up.
Fucking love it.
And I think that'll bring us right into a CS Guys. What's our CS Guys topic for this week?
I think it would be kind of fun to end it with like our favorite Mariner that was not very good. Like he never produced, he never got it popping,
Yeah,
but we enjoyed him anyways.
All right, yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah, let's do
get
that
it.
one.
What do you got, Owen?
I'm gonna go with Ben Gamble. He, I think, kind of came up at the same time Haniger did, and both. It might have been Haniger's rookie year or sophomore year.
Yeah, it was around that same time.
It was
I
that
think
same time
Haniger was
period where
18.
they both like really went in like the first half of the season, and Haniger, hit like 15, 20 bombs maybe, and Gamble had a decent amount of hits. He had a high average. He's pretty fast out there, and then he just disappeared. I don't know where Gamble went. I don't even know if he's starting still.
He's
Pirates.
somewhere on the Brewers, I think.
Brewers?
Brewers
So-
or Pittsburgh.
I think I know I think that's his path. So, like, I remember him flying around in the outfield for the Mariners, making diving catches with his flowing hair. I
They
think
actually,
I
the
think he-
Mariners tried to, they made like a hair night with like
Yeah.
Ben Gamble and
Taylor
Taylor
Motter.
Motter.
Taylor Motter.
The
Long hair
flow
boys.
night, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
And me and my brother had long hair at that point. We were like, should we dress up as Gamble and Motter for Halloween? And it would have been awesome. But I remember, yeah, he went to the Brewers and then he ended up on Pittsburgh. So he's still around.
Good to see.
Yeah, man.
I liked him a lot.
Me too. Oh, yeah. My pick for Mariner that never really made it or was that good, I rooted so hard for this guy, man. I went to some games around this time. It was like 2017, 16, Guillermo Heredia, our left fielder at the time. He seemed like he was really going to break out at any moment.
He
Like,
was a
every
character,
time he
too.
was up, I wanted that dude to mash a ball. Like, I was rooting so hard for Gil. He was my guy. And he just never panned out, man. I think he ended up going to the Braves. I saw he was on the Braves at least last year, maybe into this year, but
He's
Once-
somewhere still in the league, I think, but
he just never really broke out. It seemed like he was right on the verge forever. He just couldn't do it, and that's when the Mariners were pretty bad. Yeah, I don't think he ever really like broke out or performed. He's just kind of always been that bench player, and like maybe he's bounced up and down a couple times. But that was the dude. I remember rooting for him so hard. He robbed a home run one time. I was up in left field, and he was playing left field, and I was up in the above Edgar's Cantina or whatever, like like I had a really good view. I saw his glove flash over the wall, and it was great, man. That was the one time I really remember Guillermo Heredia making me happy. There were so many at bats with runners in scoring position, risp, that he just didn't perform. So that's my guy.
I'm going to go with D. Gordon. I think this might be my third time mentioning D. Gordon in a CS Guys, but I'm a huge fan. I love that guy. He was so fun to watch. He took control of the infield. There were plays where it should have been just the most egregious error ever made. And he's like, Evan White, you got to play this. You got to throw it to blah, blah, blah. And he's just controlling everything. He took a lot of control. I loved watching him play. He's got a storied history in the MLB, and I loved seeing him on the Mariners. And I bought his Sunday Cream jersey like the week he got traded. And I was like, yes, $80 D. Gordon jersey. Let's fucking go.
It's on sale.
Also,
let's fucking go.
Also, he fought Gene Segura.
That's some badass shit. He's also so skinny.
He's tiny.
He's a little guy.
They both got fire.
They both got fired, too.
Both got that dog in them.
You know who I was thinking about? Jake Fraley. Remember that motherfucker? He walked so much, and he might have been in the long hair with Ben Gamble,
Taylor Motter, and Jake Fraley. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
they
they had the flow night or whatever. But Jake Fraley could work a count. He had so many walks, and I thought he was really, really going to be good. I was like, oh, his on-base percentage is insane. I want him to be such a good man. He was lost in the outfield. Dude needed a seeing eye dog and braille.
He was diving for average plays and making them look cool.
But he took a lot of walks. I really liked how he worked counts. I thought that was very awesome, and I thought he was going to be a good player for the Mariners. Now Jake Fraley is on the Reds, and he's just as bad over there as he was here. He gets in fights with fans. I noticed that he doesn't take heckling very well. And it seems like fans are very easily able to get into his head. And I think Fraley's hot-headedness also led to issues in the Mariners' dugout or clubhouse. So Jake Fraley could work his counts. He could get walks. But he was a hothead. He was shitty. Never panned out as much as I wanted him to. It's funny, along with his long hair in the flow night was also Taylor Motter, who was on the Mariners for quite some time. And I remember one time my girlfriend, she asked for a Taylor Motter jersey. And I wanted to get her one. I'm a nice guy. They didn't make him. He was so dog shit. The Mariners were like, no, we don't make a jersey for that guy. I had to get it custom. I had to get it custom made. It was sewn by like some 4-year-old. It was all jaggedy and the letters were off. The color. It wasn't a true teal. It was pretty bad, but I did get the jersey. It just looks pathetic, but I'm glad Taylor Motter isn't here. I'm glad Jake Fraley isn't here, but
it's a good story though.
We don't have to worry about shitty Mariners we don't care about anymore because right now all the Mariners are solid. They're dope. They're good. They're winning games.
So everybody, let's go to a Mariners game this week when we play the Braves, the Padres when they're in town. This is an interleague series. The White Sox, yeah, of course. We haven't seen them for a little while. It's good to see all the players in the league, and the Mariners are building a platform to make it into the playoffs.
Go support the team. Go support the podcast. Like, comment, share, tell your friends. That'll about wrap it up for us. Go
Mariners!